So we've just arrived in Sedona. It's a desert town in Arizona. It's known for its beautiful landscapes, but also for its natural healing sites, which are called vortexes. So my goal is to try and tap into that energy.
This is Sedona. It is known as the capital of the New Age movement. About 10,000 people live here full-time, with some of them claiming to have psychic abilities. The small town became America's New Age capital in the 1980s, when a US psychic named Paige Bryant identified powerful energy centers that she called vortexes. These vortexes are specific locations where spiritual energy is at its highest and where one can tap into the frequencies of the universe.
This is meant to be like a strong vortex area.
Sedona's psychic reputation draws in thousands of visitors every year. Many of them are looking for spiritual renewal, and I, like them, was in search of that too. First stop, the Center for the New Age, Arizona's leading New Age store. The goal was to find as much information as possible about vortexes. As I entered the store, I couldn't help but to stare at the wall of leaflets promoting psychics. It was possible to book one-on-one sessions with astrologers, aura photographers, and spiritual guides. As I looked through the shelves, I found what I came for.
Scientific vortex information.
That was exactly what I needed to get started. As I was buying the book, I was told that the author, Pete Sanders, lives in town and that he delivers talks about vortexes at a hotel nearby. Was this a coincidence, or was a spiritual force already at play here? The training was on the next day, giving me enough time to read the book.
Incredible what's happening. Just here, he's feeding, look. Yeah, look how cute.
The book basically tells you what a vortex is. It also gives more information about each vortex in Sedona. While reading it, I realized a lot of it didn't make sense to me. It was full of expressions and words I didn't understand, like blissing out or superstrings.
But thankfully he has some pictures to help us.
It also promised to teach you a soul-shifting technique that would make tapping into the vortexes easier. I was surprised at how fast Pete's language and worldview stuck in my mind. Soon enough, I referred to the wind as an upflow energy, and sentences like "I'm about to bliss out" became second nature.
Let's do it.
The scientific vortex information talk took place just outside of town, in what looked like the lobby of a 3-star hotel called the Sedona Real Inn. Tables and chairs had been moved around, making the space look like a classroom. I sat down and looked at the course material. It included a leaflet about Sedona vortexes and an illustration of the brain, which reminded me of my biology classes at school. A calculated strategy designed to inspire trust, I assumed. What unfolded was an hour and 30 minutes of anecdotes that ultimately managed to turn my brain upside down.
Nah, that was just PR hype. Make life a quest, not a test. How the hell do you make this a quest?
Having read the book before the talk, I was used to the way Pete makes shady connections between events. I didn't dare to challenge him during the talk, but I did want to know how to tap into the vortex energy. And I also wanted to know if he believed that what he taught could help people.
Vortex is a word in Sedona that became synonymous with sites that make it easier for people to do prayer, meditation, mind-body healing, or tapping higher dimensions of consciousness. So even before the sites were labeled a vortex, people would say, you got to get to Sedona's high energy meditation sites. Get to Bell Rock or get to Cathedral Rock. But the most important thing is to learn how to create the vortex effect, how you can be a vortex anywhere, any place. So there's a part of the brain called the limbic system that creates most of our unhappiness. And the brain scientists say anything that pulls you up helps you get out of that level. All people deserve knowing these discoveries for how to be happier, how to get insight, how to deal with life's challenges without suffering.
Armed with sufficient knowledge about vortexes, I headed to Cathedral Rock. Cathedral Rock is a giant red sandstone formation located just south of Sedona. It's a gorgeous place, and it's also one of the most powerful combination vortexes.
Okay, so the saddles of Cathedral Rock, the areas between the spires, this is where the energy goes in and out, inflow, upflow or something. Oh my God. But this is the vortex.
The goal was to get to the top of Cathedral Rock and tune into these energies along the way. It's a short but steep hike. It takes about 30 minutes to get to the top. On the way there, I asked other hikers if they were feeling anything.
I'm not sure what the vortex is supposed to feel like, but I feel very energetic. I'm in healthcare. I think there's a lot of things we don't know, and I don't think we know how to measure what we don't know. And I definitely believe that there are things like vortexes that exist. Would you like to contradict my vortex thoughts?
Yeah, let's have a contradiction.
There's the engineer over there.
Oh.
As an engineer, I don't believe it, but I enjoy the heck out of it. So I think it does invigorate you.
The view at the top was unforgettable, but there was just one problem.
I mean, I can't feel a thing. I'm literally sat in the sun, burning. I'm open to receive this flow. Am I feeling more relaxed? I hallucinated for a second. What is this bird saying?
I was clearly not feeling it. Undefeated, I decided to explore the area a bit longer.
So this is meant to be a strong kind of vortex energy area. I just find it a little bit hard to concentrate. There are a lot of people here, maybe not helping me connect.
Despite my best efforts, I was unable to get any sort of insight. I just wanted to feel inspired again, but I couldn't feel anything at all. I was in need of serious help. What I needed at this point was a spiritual healer, somebody who would guide me to find inner peace. I only had a few days left in Sedona, and I wanted to make the most of it while being here. I googled spiritual healer Sedona, and the first search result that came up was a shamanic journey on Airbnb experiences. The woman leading the workshop was called Deva Sophia Grace.
She's a spiritual growth teacher here in Sedona, and she offers a number of workshops. So the one I'm interested in is the shamanic journey. I will just read you out what she says about it on her website. Be guided into the shamanic realms via meditation, where you will meet your spirit guide. Your spirit guide will be your ally and companion, leading you to your own sacred space where you can heal old wounds and traumas.
The reviews were good. She looked and sounded honest to me. And since I'd never done anything like that before, I didn't have any points of comparison, so I decided to reach out to her. The shamanic journey was arranged for the next day. We had arranged to meet at the entrance of the Sedona community pool. The meetup point was the start of a trail by the Thunder Mountain, where the experience would take place. She said it was one of the most peaceful spots she knew. She also said she would prefer to be paid in cash, and attempting to connect with the spiritual realm wasn't cheap. A private shamanic journey costs $255 and lasts for about an hour. She told me she had never let any of her clients film her work before, and that she didn't recall why she was inclined to do so, but that since she had agreed she would keep to her words. After a brief introduction, we made our way to the trail. We started by observing the environment.
So Sedona was an ocean 300 million years ago. The ocean literally formed all of the rock formations.
She also gave me her definition of what a vortex was, and that felt like an honest interpretation.
There's two elements in the rocks. There's the iron and the crystal, quartz crystal. And so when these two elements come together, they create a very high vibrational frequency field. And so this is what creates that vortex, that really powerful energy. I knew there was something very powerful.
We walked and talked around the area in search of the right place to stop. And while doing that, she asked me questions about myself.
How old were you when you started to feel like you were losing that connection to the spiritual realms?
Once we found our spot, we started setting things up.
Put it on the other side. Yeah, turn it around. There you go, perfect. I was going to have us sit down.
Yeah.
We're going to build an altar together. We'll do some clearing, energy clearing.
Okay.
And then I'm going to talk to you about what we want to do in the journey, like what you're hoping for, like to achieve in the journey.
I was getting excited by everything that was about to happen to me, and I decided to trust her.
And so I thought, what are other routes that I can explore to kind of feel more inspired and less anxious? I guess that's the main thing, right?
We started by building an altar. She took items out one by one, explaining why she chose to bring them and what they meant to her.
This is my shamanic drum. This is made by an Indian in Taos, in New Mexico. And it's actually made by from a cottonwood tree. So they took a bough of the tree and they hollowed it out. Isn't that cool? And you can lift your arms.
Once the altar was set up, she began smudging dry sage around me to remove negative energy. At that moment, she told me more about how she became a shaman.
A shaman really can't be a shaman unless you actually go through a shamanic death. And these shamanic deaths. They're deaths to the ego that help you to release like things that no longer serve you or no longer are part of who you are meant to be.
Before being interrupted by somebody playing disc golf nearby.
This portal, through this portal, he's getting film of that guy. Why not? That's funny.
The interruption helped me feel a bit more relaxed. I was starting to get anxious about what was about to happen, unsure about whether I would start laughing or crying.
The beautiful thing about being in the shamanic journey is that you can just open your eyes and not be there anymore.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I hold space for you in this world and in the underworld, which is the shamanic realms.
We then started meditating. After calling the spirits, we began the shamanic journey.
The spirit of the east, element of air, eagle and condor, and we ask you to be present with us today. Thank you, thank you. Aho, ashe, amen. I am the light I am, and so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Oh. All right, so let's begin by closing your eyes.
Yeah.
And we're going to take 3 deep breaths in together.
After a few minutes, I started to feel heavy and couldn't move at all. Then I completely passed out.
This is the place of the void, where you are nowhere and everywhere. And this field of wildflowers reaches out as far as the eye can see. And at the bottom of the tree, you notice an opening down the staircase, going deeper and deeper into the earth. Feel its energy. Notice how it feels.
As I came back to myself, I felt an immense relief. I was still processing what had just happened.
Oh.
I had felt a deep wave of emotions, unsure exactly where it came from. One thing was for certain though, It brought me the peace of mind I was desperately seeking, for a moment at least. After the shamanic journey, it was time to leave the city.
I don't know that I got all the messages that I needed to get, or all my questions answered, or anything like that. But I felt like there were like parts of it like opening somewhere in my head. Did that give me answers to things? I'm not sure, but it doesn't really matter because it did make me feel good.
Even though I didn't feel the vortex energy, the beautiful scenery and hours-long walks in nature made me feel more grounded. I didn't really believe what Pete was teaching, but I did think that if it helped people understand themselves better, then why not? And as for the shamanic journey, it did not bring me life-changing insights, but it did make me feel listened and cared for. One thing was for sure, I left Sedona feeling good.